Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hey everyone, welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where we answer your questions about, property. So let's get your questions in now. Rob, please direct our wonderful people to where they can get their burning questions answered.
Yeah, could not be easier. Just go to propertyhub.net/ask. There you can leave us a voicemail, or if you want to appear in our Sunday Times column, you can send us a written question there as well. So both at propertyhub.net/ask. But we love people who leave us a voicemail because that means we can answer them there here on this show.
Right, let's listen to our question in from Ryan.
Hi, Rob and Rob. Ryan here from Derby. I've currently got 5 buy-to-lets and listen to the podcast quite frequently. When I was listening to Is Property the Best Investment Choice, it just got me thinking that maybe I would like to leverage the portfolio a little bit more. Currently I got one property which is unencumbered, which I would be able to release about £180,000 from. With the current climate, mortgages being quite high, capital growth being quite suspect, and rents fluctuating so much, just wondering what you think the best thing to do with this £180,000 would be. I'm not looking for too much extra hassle, but looking for the best returns overall, whether that be through growth or rental returns.
Ryan, some hotspot focus there. Absolutely dominating Derby. Love it. Well done to you and the portfolio that you've built there. And you're in a great position. That 180,000 is something that can absolutely be used. But should it be? I guess that's your question. Well, let's try and answer it. The 180,000, I think, is really, really simple to answer, actually. It comes down to numbers, believe it or not. And you will need to look at the mortgage rates. So don't be opinionated. Oh, they're high, they're low. Just look at it from a purely logical level and say, right, if I borrow at, let's say, 5%, can I get more than a 5% return when I deploy that capital? If the answer is no, you probably shouldn't do it. And the reason why is that it's costing you to own that property. Because if you go and invest that 180,000 and you borrow at 5, but let's say that your return is 4, then during the deficit, you're paying more for the money that you've put in. So it's not worth doing. It's not a good investment. But if you say you borrow at 5, but you can get a 6% return, then you are up. And then if you also benefit from capital growth, then you are really up. Now, dear listener, you may be thinking, well, even if you're slightly down, why not do it and just take advantage of the capital growth? For me, that is gambling. And I know it sounds crazy because we talk about how property delivers capital growth over the long term, and I'm sure it will in the future, but you are assuming that is going to happen to make your investment work. And for me, I wouldn't operate that way. You either need to wait for the rates to change or find a better investment opportunity. My belief is that with the rates where they are right now, you can generate better returns than even the rates that you're borrowing at. So you may feel mortgages are quite high, but I actually think in this climate, returns are quite high. So I think you can make it work. It will depend on the areas you're looking at. But Derby, for example, you can absolutely make that work. We've done deals in Derby over the last 6 months, which would absolutely work. So I'm sure you can find them as well. But don't take my word for it. Do the numbers, see it for yourself. And if the numbers work and you like the opportunity, go ahead. If you like the opportunity and the numbers don't work, I'd be very, very cautious. But whatever you decide, Ryan, best of luck.
Okay, let's answer a question from Lisa.
Hey, Rob. Massive fan. I discovered your podcast about 3 years ago and it started me on my property journey and I've never looked back. So I'm a resident in Abu Dhabi and I own a couple of properties and I'm actually buying a property through you guys, which I'm very excited about. An off plan. I've been looking at agents to manage my property and I noticed in one of the agents I'm looking at, their terms and conditions say that there's something around taxation of income from land 1995 non-resident regulation, and as part of that they will deduct basic rate tax from any rent received. So this is something I've never heard of. So it would be good to know what circumstances qualify for this. Is it if you're renting by a company abroad or is there something else to it? And also I've noticed that there's exemptions. So I've done some reading around it, but I would help with demystifying it. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you for listening and for being a client. Really exciting that you're buying right now. So yes, what you have run into there is the non-resident landlord scheme. And this is basically a piece of tax law that says if there's someone who lives outside the UK, the person who pays the rent or who receives the rent, if that's an agent, needs to deduct the basic rate of tax before paying it over to you. This is not something you ideally want to happen, but it's really easy to get around. All you need to do is apply to HMRC for approval to receive your rent without the tax being deducted. So if you Google non-resident landlord scheme, you'll find the forms. There's one for individuals, one for companies. Basically, as long as you're up to date with your taxes and they've got no reason not to trust you, then they will send you a letter with some kind of confirmation number on it. You give that to your agent. That basically says, you can pay me the full rent without any deductions. And that is that sorted for you. I have recently started to see agents trying to charge more to overseas landlords for administering things like this. But as far as I'm concerned, if you just give them this notice, then there is no extra administration to be done. And I personally would be arguing about paying any extra. So it's one of those little tax wrinkles that as a non-resident, you need to be aware of. But in this case, there is an easy solution. So Lisa, hope that helps.
So that's us done for another week. We'll be back on Thursday with the Property Podcast in the Sunday Times on Sunday, and back this same time, same place next week, answering more of your questions. Until those wonderful events occur, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.